Hello, everybody, and welcome to panel number 2 of our Thursday night on Utah Remote Con. This is all about the Mandalorian and future Star Wars streaming properties that are coming to Disney+. We have a lot to cover in this panel, and so I'm going to get through this stuff really quick. We are raffling off a great prize. It is a Star Wars print that looks amazing and incredible. If you want to get your hands on this, you got to check it out on Instagram. If you want to get your hands on it, though, you got to go and buy raffle tickets at givebutter.com/Utah RemoteCon 2. That's where you can buy the raffle tickets. That's where you can enter your name in to win this awesome prize. We're very grateful to have it. We are going to be talking all about streaming and what's coming up on Disney+. Let me bring on our moderator, Craig Price, who's going to try to guide us through, what was it, Craig, 9 titles?
Something like that. It's 9-ish. Yeah, we're doing this Smokey and the Bandit style. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there, but we're going to be eastbound and down in a moment. So we've got a great group of people assembled. Even though this is not an Avengers situation, we have the Avengers of Stolen Droids with I don't know which one's Thanos though. I think James might be Thanos, but I don't know.
Wow.
He might be. I don't know. He's the unknown. I know a little bit about him, but everybody else I work with and talked with and podcast with and James seems like a nice guy, but then again, snap, you're all gone. So if you're ready, let's get into it because we don't have much time.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we'll start off and I'm gonna have everybody introduce themselves so we kind of have an idea of who's who. And we'll obviously, Jake, our MC. He is not only the MC, but he is El Presidente of Stolen Droids. Welcome, Jake.
They tell me. Thanks. Glad to be here.
What does the president do for Stolen Droids?
Well, Craig, as you know, nothing. As you've seen what I've done behind the scenes. So.
He's like,
well, if the president does nothing, I can't wait to find out what the chief executive officer, Collin Farmer. Collin, how are you, sir?
I'm fantastic, man, and it's not much more than Jake.
So you're saying it's more than Jake.
More. That's the important thing.
Yeah. And we also have, he is an action figure come to life, ladies and gentlemen, Robert Neal. How are you, Robert?
Doing well, thanks. How are you?
You look great in your Jedi robes. You're doing good.
Well, thank you. I haven't worn this in a while. Figured it was a good time to dust them off.
Absolutely. And he is, you love him, you know him from movies that make us, Tracy Mangum. Tracy.
Hello, everybody.
Tracy, just so you know, Tracy changed his shirt to make it Star Wars centric as soon as he could. Looking good and, well, in an undisclosed location, Tracy Mangum. From the Black Void, James Thompson. James, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm not sure where you are. If he's in an undisclosed location, you are blink twice if you're in a closet and you need help. There you go. And he's a screenwriter and filmmaker and one of the greatest people I know at FanX. Please welcome Blake Casselman.
Hey, I have one question, though. Can the president of Stolen Droids get impeached?
I hope not. I think it's more like a tenured position, if I understand it correctly. So I can kind of just do whatever I want.
It's mostly ceremonial. He has no real power.
At least until immunity comes aboard.
Yeah. Thankfully, he has surrounded himself with very unambitious people who will not even try to uprise. So he's got it all planned out. But we are here to talk about Disney Plus, Star Wars, and streaming. We've got, yes. Well, my wife is the only person that hasn't shaved is Jake. Jake is naturally, it takes him several weeks to get to a mustache level.
Yeah. Did you plan this, Jake?
What?
The 3 non-haired people in a row.
There's 3 non-haired people. I'm glad we're being all politically correct about their baldness.
I can be scientifical if you want.
All right.
We don't have time for this, Collin.
We don't have time for this because.
So sorry.
Blake, what were you going to say?
I said, was the other title for this panel the 7 bald guys?
Yeah. Yep. All right. So So, but Colin has enough hair for all of us. Anyways, let's move on to what is going on. We're going to talk about the Disney Plus series that are coming out. Currently, we've got The Bad Batch, which just came out earlier in the month. They have not confirmed season 2, so we're not really going to talk about it because it's out. We love it. I think it's great. It's got 16 episodes. We've only seen 4, so we've got a good 3 or 4 months of The Bad Batch. But the next thing that's coming down the pike is the spinoff that we saw at the end of The Mandalorian season 2, and that is the Book of Boba Fett. So, James, you've been doing some research. We know it's got Boba Fett in it. We know it's got Fennec, played by the magnificent Ming-Na Wen. What else do we know about the Book of Boba Fett?
Beyond who's cast in it, the prime roles by Tamura Morrison and Ming-Na Wen, we know very little about it other than that Boba Fett has taken over Jabba's empire. And Ming-Na Wen, or Fennec Shand, doggone it, I can't talk, is serving as his right hand. Beyond that, we know next to nothing about this.
And you haven't heard any plot lines? I've heard that we might see Timothy Oliphant, his character show up, the one that had Boba Fett's armor to begin with, and then gave it to him. I've heard some of the rumblings of that.
Well, I'm guessing the marshal's not going to be too happy that the armor is being used in criminal activities.
I don't know. The marshal didn't seem like he was too upset with criminal activity as long as it wasn't in his town.
Yeah.
So, what are we hoping to see in this series?
What I'm hoping to see is with this, with the takeover of Jabba's empire, we're going to see a lot of people come out of the woodwork to challenge Boba in his new empire. I'm hoping to see the Black Sun organization rear its head and come after him, along with some other of the seedier elements of the Star Wars universe, perhaps some of the organizations we haven't yet heard of. I am hoping to see some of the New Republic's law enforcement come to bear to try and quell this too.
Well, let's see. The Black Sun showed up at the end of Solo, a Star Wars story, with Darth Maul in charge, if I'm remembering things correctly.
Right.
Do you think he's still around after the entire war? Because the Star Wars story started before A New Hope, and this is just after Return of the Jedi. So do you think he's still in power, or there'll be someone else?
If they follow the story that's, if they don't bring the storyline that was followed in Rebels, yes. If they do, then he's dead. Obi-Wan's killed him. But if they do follow, if they've left out the storyline that was established in Rebels, then yes, he's around, and it will be very interesting to see if he's still in charge of Black Sun.
Well, I doubt that very much then, since Dave Filoni is in charge of and executive produces The Mandalorian. He'll probably keep things going.
Likely.
Sometime next year, they're doing a very special anime series. It's going to be a kind of a random, unconnected thing called Star Wars Visions. Do you have any more information about that?
Star Wars Visions is going to have 10 episodes. It's going to be an anime type series, more along the lines of the Animatrix from what I have seen. It has a book tie-in, or not a tie-in, called Ronin. I had it up here, and it's vanished.
So, but these are all by major animation studios.
Yes,
that
they
do
are.
Japanese anime. Who here is a big anime fan? So, Blake, Blake, how big a fan of anime are you? Yeah, I saw Tracy do that. I don't know if Blake had it. If he was doing it way up here.
Yeah, I've loved anime pretty much all my life since I discovered Battle of the Planets and Robotech as a kid.
Well, not being an anime fan, what kind of things can they do with anime in Star Wars?
Well, you would certainly get a different type of storytelling. You get a Japanese perspective of storytelling within the established Star Wars universe. and you would get a very different animation style than what we've grown accustomed to with Clone Wars and Rebels, and I'm guessing the animation style would be closer to what we got with. I can't remember the creator's name. He did a Clone Wars miniseries before the actual Clone Wars series.
I want to say Darrenofsky, but
I think it's
something like
Yeah,
that.
it was Gennady Tartakovsky.
Was he?
Yeah, there
he was
you
the
go.
guy that did Samurai Jack, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, he did a great miniseries of the Clone Wars that kind of it's a storyline that leads directly into Revenge of the Sith movie, and it's a very anime influenced style of animation. It's 2D, it's not 3D. So in my head, while I'm reading about this new series and finding out that it's going to be Japanese creators, very anime-ish, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking 2D animation. I'm thinking an animation style that's not familiar to people who may not follow anime.
Well, in my mind, I'm thinking a lot of lightsaber fights because I'm thinking you bring in a lot of that Japanese samurai influence, but these are not going to be canon. So these might be something like a what if scenario that Marvel is doing where they're going to be just little one shots that just kind of exist in their own little worlds.
It's kind of like in the vein of the Animatrix. They explored a lot of one-shot stories that were in the universe of the Matrix. I look to be in the same vein in this Star Wars Visions. We're going to see a lot of one-shot stories that are in the universe. We're going to see a lot of Jedi who were we don't know who are in the universe. We're going to see their stories explored.
Yeah, which makes sense that something is titled Ronin. That's a part of it because Ronin are masterless Jedis basically. If you want to get real, is it? Do you? This will anybody who wants to answer it. Do you want to see more of the Skywalker type timelines group, or do you want completely unknowns?
Completely unknown.
Yeah, let's
far
expand
away.
the universe.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
absolutely.
galaxy that should be more people.
There's so much. There's so much storytelling, post Skywalker, but pre Skywalker too. Even going back thousands of years with the Old Republic. I've been waiting for some Old Republic storytelling outside of comics. Give us an Old Republic movie or TV series. That would be fantastic.
Well, you're going to like when we get closer to the end of the panel. So I like how you foreshadow.
It's almost like know what's coming.
He is such a player. He knows exactly how to foreshadow. Good for you. Well, sometime in early 2022, the season 3 of The Mandalorian will come out, and there's absolutely nothing we know about it right now because they're still worried about getting Boba Fett taken care of and some of this other stuff. But we do know that there's some loose ends that need to be tied up. Now, I've heard there might be a time jump where they may launch this a couple more years into the future. It could be right after the fact. I do know that Bo-Katan can't be too happy that the Mandalorian is now the owner of the Darksaber, which makes him the ruler of the Mandalorians. What do you guys think you'll see? Because I know that Grogu is gone with Luke Skywalker, which I did not like because that does make the universe smaller. When they could have picked any Jedi, it could have been a famous Jedi, but when they go with Luke Skywalker, it really just shrinks this whole universe into a small planet.
Well, Craig, I read somewhere, and I hope this isn't fanboy wish listing, but I did read somewhere that Grogu's story is going to continue in season 3, and Luke is going to become a major part of season 3.
Hmm.
So,
Nice. Is this where we'll get Sebastian Stan as
I'd rather
Luke
have that than
I hope
CGI
so.
Luke.
I would think it's Mark Hamill and the CGI face.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted Liz Cole from the Fan X group to get all aflutter. She posts every day for Stan Sebastian. what are you guys hoping to see in the Mandalorian series? Because I would like to see newer people. I'm tired of them bringing back the same people over and I mean, I like to see them once in a while, but
I would like to
ahead,
see
Jake.
the opposite of what Blake just said. Actually, I mean, it sounds cool, and I'd love to see Luke training a young Grogu, but I would really also love to see them go completely away from the Grogu storyline and now have them focus on the politics of Mandalore and this fractured people. And Din Djarin is kind of this reluctant leader. I think would be interesting.
Well, we know one character that's not going to be back.
Yeah, we do.
Oh yeah,
right. And I didn't bring her up because I didn't want to get to the politics of it. But I will say that while I liked her character doesn't need to actually be in the series. I never felt that Gina Carano's character was a linchpin character. Unlike Carl Weathers' character, who has a lot more connections to the outer regions of the world and the universe that they inhabit. Yeah. She was great to show up once in a while, but I'd much rather see, and I don't know if she survived, the young lady at the little village that they fought. Who was kind of a kick butt lady who everybody else didn't know how to shoot or do anything, but she was almost going to see the face of the Mandalorian.
The almost love interest of the Mandalorian. Yeah.
I'd like to see Bill Burr's ex-Stormtrooper character come back.
Yes.
Yeah. After season 1, I didn't want to see him come back at all, but after his episode in season 2, I agree 100%.
He boiled it all down about being an ex-Stormtrooper right there in that one scene. And Bill Burr, not the best actor in the world, but he really did a great job. He's a great comedian, but I thought he really nailed it with that scene where he couldn't hold himself. He just had to shoot that guy.
Yeah.
The only flaw of that entire episode was apparently you just show your face and you get access. You don't actually have to be in the system.
It's fine. That's how computers work in the future. It's fine.
Or
not in the future, but in the past.
Yeah, in a galaxy far, far away, they already have you. They already have you in the system when you're born. All right. Well,
it's computer armor.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like plot armor, but with a computer.
Yeah.
Well, I have seen some photos recently, and I know they started production, and I think they're almost getting ready to wrap it up. Of Andor with Diego Luna coming back as Andor Cassian. The problem I have with this whole situation, and you can explain more, maybe Blake, is K2SO. My favorite. He's my favorite droid. Alan Tudyk is awesome.
So there was that's been one of the big things that people have been anticipating about season 1 of Andor is that we'll have Alan Tudyk's
K2SO.
K2SO.
Yeah, he's my favorite. I know who he is.
Alan Tudyk, basically, I guess he said in a recent interview that he's not going to be part of season 1, but he's going to be part of later seasons.
Okay.
So they've this is taking place 5 years before Rogue One. And Disney has ordered 12 episodes, which they're filming right now. It was supposed to be coming out this year, but COVID pushed it back to a 2022 release. So they're busy filming all 12 episodes right now. And the fact it's 12 episodes and not 6 or 8 makes me hope that this is planned as an ongoing series and maybe hope a little bit more that maybe they have a 5-year story arc for this series so that we start at point A and then go directly into Rogue One by the end of season 5.
Well, the question I have is this going to be the introduction point to a lot of Star Wars Rebels characters in live action?
Yeah, this is
interesting.
This is going to. I mean, when they announced it, this was one of 2 episodes they announced even before Disney Plus was launched. It was this and The Mandalorian, and this series, when it was announced, got some pushback because, well, Star Wars fans aren't opinionated at all.
No, they're
Never.
a monolithic block.
Very agreeable
So
brothers, really.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
they're very passive.
they're
with-
just happy to
charming.
be here and have more
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Whatever George
Well.
says is what they do.
So, but the reason why there was pushback against the announcement was like, well, Cassian Andor's dead. What's the point of doing a series about him when we know he dies in Rogue One? Spoiler alert, sorry. Anyway. But what I read is that the point of the series, even though he's the main character, the point of the series obviously isn't going to be whether or not he survives, because we know he survives. The point of the series, more, at least from a speculative standpoint, is we're going to learn a whole heck of a lot about the Rebel Alliance, those 5 years leading up to Rogue One, which led into A New Hope.
Yeah.
And it's going to open the door for ample opportunity to bring in some Star Wars Rebels characters and introduce their live action counterpart.
Also,
So I think
just
that's what's going to be what the series is going to be about.
just like the movie Rogue One, it'll give them an opportunity to maybe retcon a couple things to make it a little more smoother, because I thought it was genius how Mads Mikkelsen's Galen was actually put that stupid porthole in there on purpose, because it didn't make any sense to even be there.
Yeah.
And now we know why. So those kind of things where they have 40 years to think about it, and they can plot and they can figure stuff out.
Wait, what if they did it on purpose?
One interesting connection to the original films that this series is going to have is Mon Mothma is going to be one of the primary characters.
Oh, interesting.
That's great.
So her presence tells me that we're going to be taking kind of a deep dive into what the Rebel Alliance was in these formative years, as they were kind of trying to build on what was started in Rebels and become what they are at the time that we get into A New Hope.
Well, and that will be really cool, because Mothma's a really cool character, really powerful female lead character that we don't get to see very much of in the movies, and so this will be a great introduction for a lot of fans. That's awesome.
And maybe we'll see Boffins too.
Maybe.
The Bothans.
The Boffins,
But the Bothans are the one in Return of the Jedi, so that's after Andor, so we might see some
Maybe they're
Bothans.
tying all over the place before Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And we'll get to see. They're just like elite
all I know
force.
is that many Boffins died to get the mass of the Death Star, and I want
the second Death Star. That was the second Death Star.
I want to have more of a connection to the Boffins that die off screen in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
That's the thing about Blake. He's just a human empath. He cannot help it.
Well, I mean, they were pretty bummed about it.
They were really bummed.
It was pretty. This is not a good thing. This is
the Boffins had to be pretty critical to the Rebel cause. We need to know why.
So bring Boffins to this series.
Yeah, I'm sure the people Alderaan weren't very happy either. They're pretty bummed. So now we're going to move on to something that's filming right now. It just started like in the last week or so. Something that they had rumors of it being in a film. And in fact, they took the script, from what I understand, and used that as a starting off point. But then once they make it a series, and that is Ewan McGregor, who's just perfect as Alec Guinness's younger counterpart for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so let's talk about that, Tracy, because the cast list that they've released is, man, they've really going all in.
Oh, yeah. So you've got showrunner Deborah Chow, who directed several episodes of The Mandalorian. Some of the fan favorites. She worked on American Gods. She worked on Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad. I mean, the lady has an extensive resume, and she's really good. Ewan McGregor has said that they are filming using the same technology that they do for The Mandalorian. They've been shooting for a week and a half, something like that. It's going to be 6 episodes. But Hayden Christensen is coming back as Darth Vader. They didn't say he was Anakin Skywalker, so there might be some flashbacks, but it definitely sounds like we're getting his version of Vader, which will be very interesting to see.
Yeah, because that's interesting, because you don't need to bring him back if it's Darth Vader.
Right.
So do you think there's going to be some flashbacks?
Possibly. There's rumors of both. There's rumors that there'll be flashbacks, and there's rumors that one of the plot points is Vader's trying to hunt down Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And talk about some of the other folks in it, because you got like O'Shea Jackson, you've got Joel Edgerton coming back as Lars and
Uncle
Emperor.
Yeah, Emperor and Uncle Owen are back. Let's see, I got Moses Ingram, Joel Edgerton, Bonnie Picey, Kumali Nanjiani.
Kumail Nanjiani, yeah.
Thank you.
Kumail Nanjiani. Kumail is great because he's also in the Eternals, but he's also, he's the example I use when they say, well, we need to find someone buff. I'm like, no. Kumail was one of us.
Right.
He was a nerd. He was a pudgy nerd. And Marvel just hired some trainers. And next thing you know, he's super buff and he looks kind of weird. I'm sure Emily Gordon, his wife, is not complaining. But he's great.
An interesting casting note. The co-director of Uncut Gems, Benny Safdie, is going to be in the show as well.
Okay. That's random.
Yeah, they said that was the most recent and unexpected casting. So
it was non-negotiable. They had to have him in the show.
Okay. This is nothing, right?
Yeah.
So what are we hoping to see in Obi-Wan? Collin, we haven't heard from you. We've been kind of talking all around you. What do you want to see in an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie?
I mean, I just want more hello there, man. Like
you're a simple man, Collin.
I'm a simple man living in a.
He doesn't say hello there at least once. Colin's gonna riot.
Yeah.
No, I'm just hoping to see more of the in between, right? There's a lot of unknowns about what Obi-Wan was really doing during those times in between these films, and was he just sitting on Tatooine just held up in his little hut, or was he actually going out and making a difference still within the galaxy?
It's going to be a really long series if he's just hanging out in his hut.
It's a very short series. We just do a montage, and then that's it. Just different lengths of beard.
I'm wondering if we're going to see. I'm wondering if we're going to see an elite group of stormtroopers show up, ones that never missed, because they need to retcon Obi-Wan's line from A New Hope that says only Imperial Star Troopers are as accurate. So
I love that.
I'm hoping that means there's going to be a badass group of stormtroopers that show up.
I love that everything that Blake wants so far is like hanging on one random line from the trilogy, like just different lines from the trilogy. Well, we need this.
Bothans. We gotta have a Bothans that could.
I'd love to see, with Darth Vader being in it, I'd love to see the bleeding of the crystal to make his lightsaber red instead of blue, because that's something that's always talked about. How do you get a red kyber crystal? And that has never been shown in canon before, so it'd be cool to see something like that.
I like that.
Robert, you're a resident Jedi. Is there something that you hope to see?
Mace Windu. No.
Yeah, maybe me and Mace. It's like Pulp Fiction on Tatooine.
Mace is still alive.
Cans. No, I'd like to see. What did it take for over 18 years for him to get from Ewan McGregor to Sir Alec Guinness? I mean, there's some road miles that you put on those in those 18 years.
Hey, living in the desert's tough. You guys know that, living in Utah. It's like one day you're young and good looking, and then 2 days later, you're 105 years old.
He went 30 years without moisturizing.
I guess.
That's exactly what it was.
Or hair product either.
You go from Coruscant to Tatooine, you're gonna dry up. I'm thinking chapped lips for the first 2 episodes.
Well, what I read was this is supposed to take place 10 years after Obi-Wan went to Tatooine, and so are we going to see a 10-year-old Luke Skywalker?
That is a good question.
It'll still be CGI Mark Hamill.
Likely.
It'll be like a little instead of a baby Luke instead of a baby Yoda. So you got to go with baby everything. They did it with the Ghostbusters. We're going to have baby Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
It'll be CGI and still voiced by Mark Hamill, though.
If we do get young Luke, I'm hoping that it's just a minor character. I hope they don't make him a major part of the series.
Yeah,
Probably just seen from afar. One day he'll just be passing the large homestead, and he'll just see him from afar.
Yeah.
I just want to see a sandy-headed kid, just the back of his head, just randomly walking behind scenes, never seeing his face. He's always just running around doing something. We never know. We know it's Luke, but we don't know what he's doing.
Just running around buying power converters at Toshi Station.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to another
I don't
Jedi.
know. He may be a Goonie. It may be something like that.
He's a Goonie. He's a goober is what he is. We're gonna move. If he can whine like that when he's 18, I can only imagine when he was like at 10. So we're gonna stay with the Jedi. And Collin, you are in charge of talking about probably one of the most well-developed Jedi in the history of Star Wars, which a lot of people who don't watch the Star Wars except for the movies don't understand that Ahsoka Tano is one of the most well-developed characters they've ever created.
She's a huge deal.
She is a massive deal, and she's probably one of the most important Jedi. So what do you have for us there?
Yeah, for sure. So as far as what we know about her series right now, we don't have a ton of info on. I don't think they've even started production just yet on it. But it was rumored to supposedly be releasing in either I believe March or April of 2022. We'll see if that timeline sticks. But really, all we know so far is that it's going to be her in it. We know that the main antagonist is likely going to be Grand Admiral Thrawn. And I'm super excited for that. And so that leads us back to kind of where we've left off from Star Wars Rebels, one of the animated series, where towards the end of it, and spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but you've got Sabine and Ahsoka at the end of it going to find Ezra Bridger, one of the main Jedi in that series, who pulled off a huge move to get rid of Grand Admiral Thrawn, and ended up, putting him somewhere in the unknown regions of the galaxy. And so part of this we're thinking is that it's going to lead into that journey, her going back and meeting up with Sabine and trying to find Ezra and bring him back, and but also trying to battle Thrawn, which is huge. But we've had massive character development from her being Anakin Skywalker's Padawan from the Clone Wars series, and being able to see her growth, and then eventually realizing Jedi just isn't a fit for her anymore, right? She doesn't go by that term. She's kind of on her own, which is one of the main reasons she didn't want to take Grogu under her wing. Mm-hmm. She really wanted to find someone that believed in those values, and give Grogu what the path that he was supposed to be on, versus kind of going in the way of I guess the term would be gray Jedi, but we don't really have it's never been exactly. Yeah.
But also, Grogu is just disgusting eater. So would you want to deal with that on a daily basis? I mean, I can see why she passed. Because
that lady's poor eggs. Like, she could have had so many more children.
Well, the Mandalorian, he lives with his funk all the time, so he's not really worried about being gross.
Do you think Grogu led Luke down that path of the blue milk and
yes,
the Last Jedi?
The green milk. Grogu's like, try it.
The green milk.
Just do it.
Do it. It's the best thing ever.
So the main question, and this is right up my alley, but I'm going to ask this to everybody. We all know that we did it here on Tuesday nights. We did the cast off where we did Ocean's 8. If you're going to cast Admiral Thrawn, who would you want to be the live action Admiral Thrawn? I'm going to throw out, I still would like to see the voice actor, Lars Mikkelsen, who's Mads Mikkelsen's brother.
Yep.
He would look great as Admiral Thrawn, and I think he'd do a great job because he has that bad, evil guy look to him because he's Danish. But we're going to start with Jake and go right down the list. Jake, who would you like to see as Admiral Thrawn?
I don't know. I've never.
So never thought about it.
Yeah, never thought of it. I like your idea though. I mean, they did it with Katie Sackhoff with Bo-Katan. I think that's great. If they can look the part, then yeah, absolutely.
Collin?
Dude, I have no clue. I've seen a lot of people wanting to root for Robert Downey Jr. As it, and I think he'd be okay. I don't think he fits the blue look.
Really, it's the blue look, not the snappy personality. Because
he doesn't fit the blue look.
Yeah,
I've never seen Robert Downey Jr. blue. Have you?
I have. He swears all the time.
I'm on Reddit, man. People have already pretty much made him up in it.
Yeah, that's just the weird Reddit group you go to. That probably / Robert Downey Jr. is everything. Speaking of Robert,
they've done in the group.
Yeah,
Colin.
Robert, who would you like to see as Admiral Thrawn?
Actually, if they could do his personality similar to the way they do him on Sherlock, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one I've heard a lot of.
He has that pretty much down.
Yeah. Tracy?
I haven't given it much thought, but just off the top of my head, possibly like a John Hamm, because Thrawn's an actually kind of attractive guy, and we know from Mad Men that John Hamm can pull off the cold, uncaring person.
Okay.
And we also know from Parks and Recreation that he's completely incapable of doing anything right. So,
and we also know from Good Omens that he's a bureaucrat. So, James,
I gotta agree with Robert. I read the Thrawn trilogy back when I was a teenager and revisited it recently, and Thrawn's voice in those books sounded like Cumberbatch to me. I was doing a Sherlock rewatch when I was reading books, and sounded like Cumberbatch in my head, so I think it would be a really good fit.
Well, and lastly, Blake, do you agree that Benjamin Cumberbatch should be the voice?
I think he would be great. When you said blue look, I thought of David Cross.
Yes.
yes.
In the Blues family.
Oh my God.
Crying in the shower.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to move on to some shows that don't have any schedule, and they don't really have a lot of synopsises yet, so we don't really know what they're going to do. But they did announce them, and I'm going to talk real quick about the Rangers of the New Republic, which is it's going to be like an offshoot. It's at the same time as the Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka. They're at the same time, and it's about a New Republic soldiers who are out in the world. So Blake, what you were saying about how you wanted to see some people come in and fight back against this new crime syndicate, we may see the New Republic soldiers, because one of the things that Disney is doing with Star Wars that they're not actually doing with the Disney Plus Marvel movies is that they're making them more connected. Yeah. So all the Star Wars Disney Plus are going to be really connected.
Well, and they've said that they're leading to a big crossover event.
Yes, it's going to be like a big Avengers thing at the end for the Rangers of the New Republic. But it's weird that the Marvel TV shows are not really connected, because Falcon and Winter Soldier had almost nothing to do with WandaVision, and
that's why it was better.
It seems like the Marvel stuff is being connected to the movies. The Marvel Disney Plus series are being connected to the movies instead of each other.
Yeah. And it's exactly the opposite of what Star Wars is doing, where the movies are connected to each other, and the TVs are connecting the movies, and the movies are not connecting to anything. So then it brings. So you were talking that you want to see a High Republic from way back when, and this is where the Alkalite comes in. Jake, you've been looking that up. What do we know about the Alkalite?
Yeah, and not a whole lot, Craig. Like you said, it doesn't even have a schedule yet for it. We do know that the showrunner on it is going to be, let me get her name right, Leslie Headland. But
is she in your contact list?
Yeah, I call her all the time. We're chatting Acolyte right now, in fact. I said, I'm on a panel on Utah Remote Con 2. What can you tell me about Acolyte? And then she blocked my number. So
he said, new phone, who dis?
Yeah.
Did you get my number?
Yeah, exactly. It was a little weird. It was a little uncomfortable for a minute. But no, she was the showrunner on Russian Doll. But what we know about it is it does take place during the High Republic era, about 200 years before the Phantom Menace. So we're going to see the old Jedi that, like, at the height of their power. And this is going to be from the perspective of an acolyte in the Sith. So it's going to explore kind of the dark side during that time. So what does that all mean? It means there's going to be lots of gold and bronze accenting on lightsabers and some really cool stuff that we haven't seen before, and it's going to be really awesome.
So cosplayers are super excited just for this whole series, just to see what they can do.
Oh,
And
yeah.
nobody named Skywalker is going to be in it.
That's the other important. Yoda might show up, but no Skywalkers. I do wish that this was just a little bit earlier in the Old Republic, because it's about 200 years before Phantom Menace, but I'd love to see something in like, Knights of the Old Republic time, which is like thousands of years and stuff, which would be really interesting. But I still think this will be really great. And if we can get the Wookiee Jedi to show up in it that we've got in the High Republic book right now, I'm all for it.
Right.
I just want to see a cooking show called like Wookiee Cookie, and they're just making cookies and pastries, and it's like the Great British Bake Off. But that's just me. Seeing Lumpy come in there and make mashed potatoes. But
that'll be their next big announcement. Yeah.
We don't need anyone from the holiday special in there, Craig.
Thank you.
Well, my question is,
B. Arthur's passed away.
Yeah, and so is Harvey Korman. And it's an unappreciated classic. Anyways, now, however, from what I understand, all the new books that are coming out from Lucas and from Disney are about the High Republic.
Right.
Is there any connection to that? Because I don't read the books. I listened to the first one that came out.
From what's been announced, there's not any connection. It just seems to be in that same time frame. So,
and we didn't really, within that first book too, we didn't have anything like Sith related.
No. It was, and really wasn't a lot of Jedi stuff. It could have been an episode of the Clone Wars, quite frankly.
Yeah. It could have been. I might have watched it. So,
did anybody play the old Knights of the Republic games?
Oh yeah.
So, what are the? I'm hoping they have those battle droids in there. What are those? The H9 or whatever they were.
HK.
HK.
Yeah.
Heads.
But see, that's the thing, is this is hundreds of years after that, thousands of years after that. So we'll see. It should be interesting though. But again, it's just exciting because it's a new time era where it's not the Skywalkers and not anything that we've seen before. Yep. So
I just hope they explain what happened between the Revenge of the Sith and Star Wars that made all of the graphics degrade to pixels. Because we went from like Super Nintendo to Atari, and they regressed in that action.
Only the boffins know.
Oh,
yeah.
Well played.
We'll get some answers in the Andor series.
I hope so. They're like, oh my god, we have a new NVIDIA card. Let's put it in. Anyways, and last but no means least, Robert, they are really looking to do a Lando limited series, but we don't know if that's going to be a Billy D. Williams kind of older Lando. Is it going to be Donald Glover as Lando, or is it going to be a third choice?
I like that he's got the two choices, and then the third choice happens to be in the middle. I'm here for it.
Jay, with your connection to Lucasfilm,
I'll get Leslie on the phone right now.
You Robert on this.
Done,
you need to get unblocked.
Make this happen, Jay. You do it. We don't really know very much about it. They don't know if it's going to be a live action or an animated series. We don't know if it's going to be Billy D. Williams, Donald Glover, somebody else. I'm kind of hoping that we get effectively the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles kind of treatment, where we get Donald Glover and Billy D. Williams.
That would be cool.
And we see, how did Lando become the Lando that we know? How did he meet like L3? Maybe see a little bit of when he was on Pasha with Luke looking for the blade to find the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. Did he ever fulfill his promise to Janna from Rise of the Skywalker? So, I mean, it's wide open with what it could be. I'm just looking for the smoothest man in space to be out there just playing Sabak and being cool with his spaceship before Han gets to it.
Yeah, I could easily see Billy D. bookending, just kind of leaning back in a chair and say, "I remember when this happened," and then
love that. Or just like it if they were it just opens up and it's somebody reading a chapter of a book like his, since he was doing his memoirs in the Falcon.
That's right.
Somebody finds these and is recounting the stories, and you get to see that with whomever plays Calrissian.
Wouldn't it be cool if they did two parallel storylines, one with old Lando and one with young Lando,
That'd be
Well,
cool.
that would be cool.
going on at the same
Yeah.
time. So we have Donald Glover and Billy D. Williams in the
That would be a
series.
lot
That'd
of
be
fun.
awesome.
That'd be fun.
I
But I
don't.
mean, there's just
I
so
don't
many
know
ways
if
to
one
go.
series can handle that much.
I want to see Into the Landoverse. I
I'm
want to
there
see
for
them
that.
meet like old and young Spock in Star Trek. That
I'm
would be
there for
perfect. Blake, you're a writer. Get on it quick.
You're a writer. Get on that.
I'm going to write a script unsolicited, and they're going to think it's brilliant.
Blake,
Hey,
Jake has connections to Lucasfilm. So
I do. Send me the script. I'll text it over to Leslie.
Thanks, Jake.
well,
Why
we've
how
only
she
got a
spells
couple
her
minutes
name.
left. We've only got a couple minutes left, and so I'm going to go in reverse order from bottom to top. Of all the things we've talked about, you can either tell me what you're looking for the most, or is there something else that hasn't been brought up that you'd like to see in the Star Wars universe, especially on a Disney Plus show? So, Blake, you have Bob Iger's ear, and you're like, Bob, I want to see this.
Knights of the Old Republic. That's what I want to see. You know, I think it's really interesting how Star Wars started as a film franchise. Yet I think if you look at the final days or the final years that Lucas was in charge of his company, they seem to be going in that TV direction.
Mhm.
What was the series? What was the live action series that didn't see the light of day that Lucas developed and they had a lot of scripts written for?
Oh,
That was going to be about the
Coruscant.
smugglers.
the world?
Yeah.
It took place on Coruscant.
Yeah.
there's-
Anyway, it's really when Disney bought it, they kind of got rid of all the legend stuff that it wasn't canon. Although it's interesting that they're mining that stuff now for characters and ideas, but they relaunched it with the movies and they were kind of uneven.
Mhm.
I don't want to get into which movie was best or what parts of the movies were best, and
Yeah, Last Jedi.
seems
That's we all know.
it seems like the future. I mean, they'll still do movies, I'm sure, but it seems like the future of the franchise is kind of back where Lucas was leading it before he sold it to Disney. It's television, and the streaming platform has really opened the door for them to tell stories and
I think
introduce characters that we can care about.
And I think the volume has really made a big difference because now it's affordable, and that was the biggest problem for Lucas is that it just wasn't affordable. We're running out of time, so I'm going to go with James. James, what are you looking forward to, or what would you want? Either one.
Okay. What I want is a series dealing with the golden age of the Sith Empire. I've had enough of the Jedi. Let's deal with the bad guys.
Breaking Bad. That's what he wants. He wants
Yeah,
Breaking
right.
Bad. Walter White.
I'm with James
Tracy.
on that one. That's where I was going to go. So the one I'm looking most forward to, I would say probably Obi-Wan.
Robert.
I want to go a little different on this, and I'm going to follow James a bit, but I would like to see Mara Jade, but since she's got a completely wide open canon now, see the adventures of a Sith analog to to the stories that we already know, or just go in a completely different direction with her.
I think I saw a We Got It Covered clickbait article saying that Brie Larson might be Mara Jade. So I don't
It's
know.
probably true.
Yeah. They got it covered. That says it right in the name.
That's how they got it covered.
Listen,
it must be true.
If
Yeah.
Star Wars really wanted to make every fanboy out there have their head just explode, it would be casting Brie Larson in the Mara Jade role. Like that would just all of them would just die.
And then make Rose her sidekick for the whole show.
Like 1,000 voices silenced.
Collin, what are you looking forward to? Or what would you like to do?
I'm with Blake. Knights of the Old Republic for sure. I can't tell you how many times I played through those games as a kid. I would love to dive more into Darth Revan, and Malik, and all those. And it was Star Wars Underworld, Blake.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
There you go. Jake?
Yeah, I'm a big Obi-Wan fan, so I'm really excited about the Obi-Wan series. So I will say that, and then I'm going to say something completely opposite of that and say I want to see more stories of characters that we've never heard of before, and I want to see them not necessarily attached to canon. Like I love the Mandalorian, and I loved when Luke showed up, but I would have been just fine if Luke never showed up too, because I like that they were creating a story all on its own that had nothing to do with the Skywalker saga at all. And I want more of that. It's a big galaxy.
Yeah, and I am looking forward to some kind of smuggler show. So that underworld would have been something I wanted.
But you're getting Lando, so you get a smuggler.
Or
hey, I'll take Lando. Lando's great. I want to see that though. So far, that's why I liked Solo. The Star Wars story wasn't as bad as everybody kept on saying. I think it just had a little backlash. It just came out at the wrong time. If they waited 6 more months, it probably would have done a lot better. Also, I don't think they need to explain every single thing about the background of people. That really irritates me when they. I mean, I don't need to know where he got the dice from or how his name became Solo. Come on, that's just his name should be just Solo. Just anyway.
We don't need to know everything. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a great heist movie, though.
It's good. It's great, and the fact that they salvaged it from these ruins. I want to see what the guys from the community were going to do. I would like to see that version too, just to see what was going on. But I want to thank Blake Casselman. I want to thank James Thompson, Tracy Mangum, Robert Neal, Collin Farmer, and Jake Dietz for being on the panel. Please go to givebutter.com/UtahRemoteCon2. We're going to raffle something off right now, but you don't need to get raffle tickets. Just give us money. Give us money.
Yeah, contrary to what we've heard from people on this very panel, and we won't name names, you can make a donation without actually buying raffle tickets. However you would like to give, you totally can. We do have a winner for the great Star Wars print that we have available for this panel, and I believe a Stolen Droids t-shirt. And it was Steve Condrick. So Steve, congratulations.
Hey, Steve.
Friend of the con for sure. So, but yeah, lots of fun. Thank you guys, everybody, for being here. This was a great panel. I really enjoyed it. We could talk for another couple of hours, I'm sure, about boffins and sharpshooting stormtroopers, and we'd never run out of things to talk about. But everybody, thanks for watching. We will be back tomorrow night with some DC content, but it's going to be good. I promise. You got to come back and see it. Like, we may change your mind on some DC stuff. So come back, listen to our panels tomorrow night. And then Saturday, we wrap it all up with some great panels on a smorgasbord of topics. Lord of the Rings, another Star Wars panel. We've got a Battle of the Geeks again. So come back Saturday as well and donate. givebutter.com/UtahRemoteCon2. Thanks everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.
Bye.